Hi, Anne. It's nice to see you today.
Hi.
So last week when we met, we did all of that intake paperwork and we did a lot of your background information and talked a lot extensively about confidentiality. So today what we're going to do is we're going to carry on from that intake paperwork and kind of really get to the meat of why you're here. So I'm going to be asking you a lot of questions today. A lot of them are yes or no questions. Some of them are extended questions. If you have any questions or if you get confused, please just let me know and I'll try to rephrase those. But before we get started, I just always like to start our appointments just verifying your personal information. So I have your date of birth here as 1/23/91. Is that correct?
Yes.
And that you report that you are of white Caucasian ethnicity.
Yes.
Okay. And that you were referred here by your primary care physician, Dr. Jones.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good. Okay. So just as a reminder before we get started about that confidentiality, um, just as a reminder, I am a mandatory reporter. So if you tell me anything about wanting to harm yourself, harm others, any child abuse or neglect, any suspected or suspected vulnerable adult abuse or neglect, I do have to report that. But other than that, this is a safe space and you can trust what you say here stays here. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And again, some of these questions might be difficult or they might be sensitive. So if you need a break, please just let me know.
Okay.
Okay. So kind of getting started. Now I kind of have the referral here from your primary care doctor, but could you tell me what is your understanding of why you're here today?
I I just get really overwhelmed by all of the thoughts in my head and I I have to do things a certain way all the time and it takes a lot of time and it wears me out having to always being so rigid.
Okay. That does sound exhausting. How long have you noticed these symptoms affecting you?
I've felt like this ever since I was little, but it got really bad in high school.
Okay. So is little, does that mean like even before school, even before like elementary school?
Probably starting around the age 8.
Okay. So around age 8, but really started noticing them around high school.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you think of anything specific in high school that happened that may have stuck with you, that may had an impact on you, that would have made your symptoms worse?
Well, I know that in high school I started getting really stressed about getting good grades and stuff, making sure I was ready to apply for college.
Okay. Did you feel any stress from your parents about making good grades or getting into college?
No, they were always telling me that I should relax.
Okay. And it's not always that easy, is it?
Well, I just feel like yeah, it's not easy. Like it has to be done this way or it's
Yeah.
not.
If it were easy, that would
Yeah, it's
problem
not.
solved.
There's only one way to do it and it has to be done that way every time.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So did you live with your parents when you were growing up?
Yeah,
Any brothers or sisters?
two sisters,
Two sisters. Are they younger, older?
both older.
Both older. Okay. So you're the youngest. Mom and dad still married?
Yes.
Okay. Any substance use with mom or dad?
No.
Any substance use with either sister?
No.
Any domestic violence with mom and dad?
No.
Okay. So when you talk about things being done a certain way and being rigid, describe to me what that looks like for you.
I guess for me, like there's certain things I need to do every single day. Like when I get up, I have to make my bed first thing and then when I leave the room, I have to, I walk under the door jamb, come back out and then walk back under one more time. And if I don't do that, I know I'm going to have a really bad day.
Okay. Is that just through the bedroom door or is that through any doorway?
Just my bedroom door.
And just the first time you leave the bedroom for the day?
Yeah.
Do you do the same thing as you come in at night?
No, it's just that's how I I have to start my morning. I have to come back, make sure everything looks good, and then I can go.
Okay. Any other times during the day where you feel like you have those types of things that you have to do, things that are rigid and keep you from kind of going on with your day?
Yeah, like when I do my homework, it always has to be done in the same order. I have to read everything first and then do my assignments, and then I can take quizzes afterwards, and my books need to be set up in a very specific way.
Okay. Any issues with same thing of like counting steps, or if you have to change the light switches on certain things, do you do that at all?
Um, I do count my steps. I never feel like I have to get necessarily to a certain amount, but I feel like I always need to know how many steps I'm taking.
Okay. Are you currently on any medication at all?
No,
Okay. And is this the first time that you've kind of reached out to talk to a therapist about these issues?
yeah,
Okay. Have these symptoms ever caused you any hospitalizations?
no,
No. Do you recall any head injuries during your lifetime?
no.
Okay. Um, so thinking back to some of the other things that you do during the day, and you talked about them being exhausting. Um, how does that kind of, how are you able to deal with that? How are you able to cope with that?
Well, the easiest way to stop stressing about them is to do it. Like, sometimes my mom will tell me to put my books in a different order so it might make more sense, but I know I'm just gonna be worried about it the whole time, so it's easiest to just put them the way that they're supposed to be and move on.
Gotcha. Okay. Um, any I know I'd asked about alcohol and drug use with your parents and your sisters. Any alcohol or drug use with yourself?
No,
Okay. Are you currently in a relationship or seeing someone?
no.
Have someone that's important to you? Okay. What about your living arrangement? Do you currently live by yourself?
I have some roommates.
Some roommates? Okay. Have you ever been married? Have any kids?
No.
No. Okay. What's the highest level of education that you've completed?
So I finished high school and I'm in college right now.
Okay. And are you currently working while you're in school as well?
Just part-time doing some tutoring on the side.
Okay. Okay. Ever been in the military?
No.
Um, and so what about yeah, I know you talked about your parents are still, kind of supportive. They notice that you're stressed out. They want you to relax. How else would you describe your relationship with your parents?
It's good. I mean, they've always been there for me. I always feel like I can go to them for anything.
Okay, good. You've been able to go to them with this?
Yeah, they just don't understand because they think that I should be able to just stop doing it, but they don't get that this is the way it has to be done.
Right, right. So, okay. So that can add to the frustration when you don't feel like you're being heard or understood.
Yeah,
Do you have anyone in your life that kind of really understands your frustrations with your symptoms?
not really.
What are some other things other than doing, going through the door, making your bed, having your books a certain way? Are there other ways that you decrease your stress? Any crafts, hobbies, things you like to do in your free time?
No, most of my time is spent making sure that everything is set up the right way.
Okay. So does it affect your roommate situation?
They think I'm kind of annoying, but it doesn't really bother them that
Okay.
much.
Okay. So since you live together, you kind of you talked about your bedroom, you talked about your books, which I assume in your bedroom kind of stays to your personal space. Does it kind of filter over into the group spaces like the living room, the kitchen, bathroom?
I mean, I like to make sure everything is clean, but they don't mind that because that means I clean up for them.
Okay, that's true. Okay. Um, any contact with law enforcement? Do you have any pending charges or any criminal convictions?
No.
Okay. And so when you talked about, again, being frustrated with some of these symptoms, um, any type of, when you get those frustrations, any ideals of self-harm or wanting to hurt yourself or others?
Not really.
Okay. Any ideals of suicide?
Sometimes I feel like, if I was dead, then I wouldn't be stressed all the time, but I know it's not something I would actually ever carry out. It just seems
Okay.
like a nice break sometimes.
Okay. I see what you're saying. So even though you've kind of had that thought, you don't really have a plan as far as how that would carry out. It's not something you would actually see yourself doing.
No, not at all.
Are you having those thoughts now, currently?
No, it usually happens when things get really bad.
Okay. How often would you say things get really bad?
Usually like around finals.
Okay, so I'm hearing you say that there's a lot of increased stress when it comes to school, finals, getting into college, getting good grades. So that seems to be like a real big stressor for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else that maybe I haven't asked that you think is important to add about your symptoms, about your life, just about understanding you?
Um, the only thing I can think of is that I don't think my family understands that all these things that I do, like I'm doing them to make sure that we all have the best lives possible. They think I'm just being crazy, but like everything I do, it's for a purpose, and they don't get that.
That, yeah, again, adds to that frustration of not being heard and all the sacrifices that you're making to get good grades and to, like you said, have a better life. So, um, that is definitely frustrating. And so hopefully maybe that is something, one of our goals that we can work on is making efforts and helping them understand you a little bit better and what you're going through and maybe your thought process. So what I'm thinking is that I think I got everything I need to get from you today. So what will happen is we will meet again this time next week, Friday afternoon. And so the next step is, well, I'll get all of this information kind of typed up and it'll just kind of be like just a history of Anne. And so it'll have a really good way for us to be able to make a plan, to make a map, to make a goal, to set goals, and figure out how we're going to move forward from here. So in the next week, between now and then, when things get rough, when things get stressful, try to do some of those things that we've talked about as far as breathing, deep breathing techniques, and kind of report in next weekend on how that has been able to help you, if anything. And we will also maybe have some other conversations about different methods of treatment, including prescription medication, if that's something you're open to. So we can talk through all of those concerns, risks, pros, cons, all of that kind of good stuff next time. Okay.
Okay.
Do you have any questions for me before we end today?
No.
All right. Well, thank you, Anne. It was nice to see you. And please call me if you have any questions. Okay.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.